Hi guys, so I'm just doing a little video on my ghrá-sa. I know this is a firm favourite for people, and it's kind of predicted that on Spalpeen and my ghrá-sa might come up in this year's paper. That's not to say the others mightn't come up, but we're kind of doing a little bit of predicting here. So up in these boxes, I just went through like the main things they ask and the main things you need to know how to talk about. If there's any other poems anyone wants me to go through, I will, but people just ask for this specific one. Right, so what do they mainly ask for my ghrá-sa? So the first thing is tema, your team. I would just say the team is love. It's also the main emotion as well, grá. These three things are so important for this poem, and they often ask about it for the 50-mark question because it's so unique to this poem. So a mugga, that's a mock or a joke. So they'd ask like, how is this a joke, or why, like, how do we know it's a joke, and that type of thing. And you talk about the brackets and the imagery and all that type of thing, and go to the sample answer in a minute. Era, and this word air means satire, and Ábhail, I just talked about Ábhail in the Uiscí na Díreanna Og video, is exaggeration. So obviously she kind of describes her partner like Tasha Kasula Shrek. He's like Shrek really, but he obviously doesn't look like that in real life. She's just exaggerating to show that like she doesn't care what he looks like. So satire is the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose or criticize people's stupidity or vices. So she's not exposing him. It's not a nasty poem or anything. She's just trying to be like, I don't care what he looks like. I love him. It's unconditional love. It's those things don't matter. So yeah, that's what those words mean. Ní gná on a nav ganach. So it's not an ordinary poem. It's not a conventional poem. Okay, so they're the main things they ask you to talk about. The question 2, as I said before, they'd ask you like, how did the poem make you feel? Or sometimes they pick out a poetic technique, whatever it is, like metaphors, similes, the title, and they ask you to discuss it. So a saval is a simile. So, the word like he is like this, like that. So whatever poetic technique, and I already talked about this in class, but whatever poetic technique they picked out, you say, yes, that's effective. Tá saoil éfachtaach sa dawn, it's effective in the poem. And then you give an example, make sure to give an example so I know that the examiner knows that you know what that word means. And then just say, it made me laugh, Currentse gairme, and Currentse átasarm, it made me happy. So I gave you generic notes on this as well to tackle all the question 2s. Where are they now? Do I have them somewhere? Yes. So if you get to this part of this booklet, there's the question 2. They're either going to ask about how did the poem make you feel, or pick out a poetic technique. And we're going to say this stuff for every single poem to make it easy for ourselves. Anyway, back up to my ghrá-sa. What else are they talking about in my ghrá-sa? Cuireadh snocht. Yeah, that's the other poetic technique. So similes and contrast between what's lovely, what's not lovely. Okay? And then obviously you have to write about herself, whatever her name is. What was it? Ghrá-sa Nula Nigonal. That's it. Let me see. Here we go. Okay, so is don romansúil é an don seo. So it is a romantic poem. Ach ní gná don grá é, but it's not an ordinary conventional love poem. Is air é. It's a satire. De gná in seandánta tradiisiúnta mullen siad an rá. Usually in these old traditional style love poems, they praise their loves. Goharcha aguma, especially their appearance. Like that's kind of the only important thing in these old poems is how the woman looked, and it was always about women, not men as well. And this poem is about woman talking about a man, so it's a little bit different that way too. Oxidon seo tá an fila ag maga alanon, but in this poem the poet is mocking her lover. Mullen an fila a fear céile ach tá sé ag maga faoi freisin. So she does praise, the poet does praise her husband, but she's mocking him as well. Is don granver agus édrome. So it's a funny and light-hearted poem. As I said, it's not nasty or anything like that. Úsáideann sé íomhán na dearfacha a bhain le nádúr, ach der sí nachhfuil a grá cosúil le blán an airní a bhí in Yardeen. So she uses, sorry, that's a mistake. She uses positive images associated with nature, but she says that her love is not like a garden that would be grown. Sorry, a flower that would be grown in a garden. Don't forget your quotes. I forget them, you forget them, we all forget them. And the poem's right there on the paper, so make sure you use them. Curran sé grúig I gomprad le wire dalagni. So I think that's quite important to know how to say that. Curran sé whatever I gomprad le whatever. She compares whatever to whatever. That's what the whole poem is about, comparing things. Le rain sé fui looked at physicula. So she speaks about his physical flaws. Och tagwe, but they have a strong relationship. That's why she can do that, because, you know, their relationship is strong and they can take these things on the chin. So Marshin Curran sé gairme. So because of that, it made me laugh. Tá Kershey's ábhéalach agus granfer. So the description is exaggerated and funny. Is cuma lehi faoina cuma. She does not care about his appearance. Mar tá tríthe níos tábhachtaí ag buaint leis. He has more important traits associated with him. Tá sé flahúil. He is generous. Agus cinálta, kind. Tá a farsantach níos tábhachtaí ná cuma. So his personality is more important than his appearance. And tugann sé dom ula, he gives me apples. Tugann sé aramwati, he takes care of her, like provides for her. She has apples. Obviously that's a metaphor. Agus tá sé I gcónaí andy, he's always there for her. Tugann sé Eva macanta agus réúil dún den gael. So she gives us an honest and realistic image of the relationship. Níl sé ferfa ach tá sé fós an grá leis. He's not perfect, but she's still in love with him. Is grá gan cuineal é. That's really, really important. It's what do you call it? Love without boundaries. There's a different word for it that sounds better. Unconditional love. That's the word, unconditional love. And you can use the grá dufrisha, unbreakable love, like I said in Oshina Dirna Love. Sometimes they might focus on the title. Do you know that the title has the brackets in it and the whole poem is brackets? So they might focus on the title or the brackets. So that word idir lubíní means in brackets. So it means my love in brackets, okay? So if they talk about in brackets or the title, you're just going to say this a little bit. So tigamid on title gur dawn difriúil isho. So the minute we see that title with the brackets, we're like, whoa, this is a different poem. It's not like I've ever seen before. So is technique filha éfachtach agus simúil iad na lubíní atá rúnach do stíl don. So the brackets are an effective and interesting poetic technique that are suitable. You know, it suits the style of the poem. It's not an ordinary poem. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Lirina lubíní nachhfuil a grá fearfa. It shows that his love is not perfect. Her love is not perfect. You know, in the brackets, it's all the kind of bad things like, oh, he's not this, he's not that. Curran sé leis an atmosphere éadrom. It adds to the lighthearted atmosphere or vibe. Agus granver, lighthearted and funny atmosphere. Fiamid nísmó ólas sa lubíní faoina grá. We also get more information about her love in the brackets. Ólas atá macánta agus granver. Information that's honest and funny. Curran don átas arm, the poem makes me happy. It's don jarfuke, like it is a positive poem compared to all the rest of them. But what lum lanum fosta sausa ekal, I liked seeing a happy married couple, which is very rare in this whole Irish curriculum. Curran sé ag swino fui codatá tábhachtach in gael. It made me think about what's important in relationships. Agus étíam leis an fila, and I agree with the poet. Tá parsantach níos tábhachtaí ná cuma. So personality is more important than appearance. Then we have a little quote there. When he's in good humour, he gives me grapes. Is matlum an Eva jazz áach eid. That eid's not meant to be there. So just is matlum an Eva jazz áach. If they ask about strongest emotion or team or whatever, is say grá on mohukan, is law just a dawn show. Mention what type of love it is using the above answer. It's unconventional, it's unconditional, it's honest, realistic love. Okay, and that is the main things with ghrá-sa.